Today we're gonna talk about the real Switzerland. Before moving to Switzerland, I thought that Switzerland is just Switzerland. Swiss people are united until they know where they're from. Finding a job. Three things. First is second is third is he's like my therapy dog.
So proud of you. I think
For the weekend, we came here to have a little brunch. We have a view of the St. Gallen city. Thank you for taking me out.
you're welcome. Virgin mojito for me and for you. Merry Christmas.
생과일 주스가 엄청 땡기더라고요.
Lovely. 네.
아, 너무 예쁜 상깔 시티. 수도원에서 스위스에 대한 얘기를 해보도록 하겠습니다.
안녕하세요.
안녕.
세브리노예요.
Today we're gonna talk about the real Switzerland.
Not just the thing that you see on postcards, what our experience is as an international couple, and especially what your experience as a foreigner.
Switzerland. Before moving to Switzerland, I thought Switzerland is just Switzerland. One country, one language, one culture. But after living here for 3 years, I just realized that is one of the biggest misconceptions that expat can make. I just knew him. I thought that would be enough, but it wasn't. Switzerland has a very different culture. It has 4 languages.
German, French, Italian, and Retromanche.
Switzerland is such a international country, and I thought that English was enough. But it wasn't. Depending on the cantons that you are gonna live, you have to learn the language that is used in that canton. It's not so much of a strong point that you can speak English if you don't speak the local language. And it has 26 cantons, so it's like a state, like in America. Each canton has different regulations, different mentality as well. Like I get to have an experience of working in the German side of the Switzerland and then also the Italian side of the Switzerland. The work culture is very, very different. German side of the Switzerland, it's more
Hardworking.
hardworking. It doesn't mean that others are not hardworking, but it's more punctual.
We are more right,
It's very strict.
which is not for the Italian part. The Italian part is more like dolce fa niente, right?
They're a bit more slower pace, and then they're a little bit more network oriented, let's say like this. If you drive 2 hours, 3 hours, then you're in a location where they have completely different language, completely different food, completely different culture. And then I was quite surprised, and then I think it's so funny that Swiss people are united until they know where they're from. I'm not saying they hate each other, but it's just they love to say shit about the other cantons, right? Yeah. Swiss people who just think that Geneva is not Switzerland. Everyone hates Zurich, and
Zurich hates everyone.
Zurich hates everyone. I think it's just so funny.
But in the end, we are holding together.
Exactly, especially now with the World Cup, they're all one Swiss. Hauptschweiz.
Hauptschweiz.
One of the things that I had to struggle, when I first came to Switzerland, is of course finding a job. When you're an expat and then you're looking for a job in Switzerland, one of the most important mindset that you have to have is you're not applying a job in Switzerland. You should approach it as a regional market. For German side, for Italian side, for French side, they have all different ways of doing their interview, different ways of approaching the job market, different ways to present yourself. And there are 3 things that I think is very important. First is a language. Second is a local education. Third is a networking. After you decide where you are gonna stay in Switzerland, it's very important for you to really focus on getting that language in the first few years. Get into the level of at least B2, because B2 is a minimum standard that the job market is expecting you to have. I'm telling you this because I couldn't, because I was more focusing on finding a job. But if you miss the first phase, it will gonna get harder and harder for you to motivate yourself, because you can see yourself living without it. I've been here now about 3 years, and then if I could go back, the thing that I would concentrate on more would be language, because I was fighting with the German.
Great.
But also,
You studied very fast. Even though it's a shitty language, you managed to study very
it is
fast.
a shitty language. In Switzerland, it's not German. It's a
Schweizerdeutsch.
Schweizerdeutsch.
Schweizer. No,
Yeah.
Schweizer.
It's a,
Schweizerdeutsch.
yeah, exactly. So as you can hear, it's a very, very strong dialect. It's based on the High German, but it's not High German. One of the crazy experience that I had in the third floor, we had this Mikroklubbschule, which is like a language school. And I learned that like until like 12. I come down to the ground floor and then I went to the cafe. I just have to use the thing that I learned in Mikroklubbschule, but it was not possible. I have to say 4 Franken 50, but in Swiss German it was
4 Franken 50.
they say just 4,50.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like 50. And then also like those small words like potato. Like potato in German is Kartoffel, and in Swiss German is
Herdöpfel.
yeah, like what the fuck. For me, like those little things were very confusing. And then the craziest thing is for the Swiss German, there's no one way to write something.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but it is.
You write it how you say it, and because everyone says it a bit differently,
Yeah.
there's no grammar about Swiss German.
They will just read it and then guess the meaning. So like it is very hard to learn Swiss German, but it will really just help you a lot. It depends on which canton that you're living, and you have to learn their language.
And even though we're telling you now the stories of how we experienced everything, it doesn't mean that it's for you exactly the same, because in a different canton it can be very much different.
Yeah. The second thing is the Ausbildung. It's also like one of the things that I wish I did, you know, when I first arrived here. At first, when I came here, I was more focusing on really like applying job that I can use English, that I can start right away. And then because I worked at Lush, I thought that I'll be able to work at Lush. So I think that's also one of the frustration that I had. But if I could go back, Sebrina was working, I could have spared some time to do some Ausbildung here in Switzerland. The one who is watching this video are the people who are thinking of living in Switzerland, not just like 6 months or 1 year or more. If you're looking yourself in a long-term living in Switzerland, I think those investing 2 years is not so much of a big opportunity cost. Even though you get to have a job, it seems good because you can earn money right away. But at some point, you are going to face the limitation because you don't have an Ausbildung.
So the thing is, first you have to do the so-called apprenticeship.
The apprenticeship culture is really important in
And
Switzerland.
because every job usually requests you to have an apprenticeship here in Switzerland, every regional job.
Yeah.
And because we are so regional, it's pretty important.
Yeah.
And even you had a bachelor from Korea,
It doesn't
it's like
mean
to say,
anything.
apprenticeship is like the basic. Like if you have this, you can specialize in so many different areas.
Yeah.
But if you don't have this basis, it's like everyone will tell you, yeah, but you don't have this. That's the problem of it.
And also with this education, there are a lot of like professional certificates in Switzerland. When you have those, you are gonna get recognized much better in the job market. Of course, I do understand. I do completely understand how frustrated you are, how you are always like in a hurry, you're worried, you're not gonna be able to get a job. I've been there as well. But I would just tell myself, just take 2 years, invest those 2 years. If you're thinking of living here longer time, do some Ausbildung and then learn German until like B2 or like a C1. That will gonna be the thing that I would advise myself. Now that we are a little bit more stable, I'm really considering of doing an Ausbildung in an area that I would like to study. Social systems are very good here. You can have those options, you can have those education to develop yourself further whilst doing some part-time job. Or like when you're even like at work, if you would like to do more study, the works are very flexible on catering that. They are even sponsoring that. So I think it's something that I would advise myself. And then last but not least, the third important thing is networking. They say only 30% of the job that is available in Switzerland is on the internet. Yeah. Other 70% are all by the word of mouth. In Switzerland, they call it
Vitamin B.
Yeah. Vitamin B. My first job for the cafe, I saw the paper, I applied for it and I got it. Second job, I was a bit frustrated and then I was angry about the system. I was like giving out my CV to all these headhunters, including PVC. Please tell me what the fuck is wrong with my CV. I recall that it was a very angry email. And then one really nice headhunter, she actually gave me a call. At that time, my German was shit. I was very afraid and I was, hello. And then she told me, don't worry about what is wrong with your CV and everything. anything. It's just you have to learn more German. And then she told me, I would love to help you, but I only cover office job. In regards of the retail, I couldn't really help you. And then like that, it just like slipped out. I just felt that like, oh, she's very nice. And then I applied for other retail job, like in the shop and then the airport. And then at that time, she sent me an email telling me that like, oh, one of my employer has another company, and then that company is hiring a shop manager. Would you be interested? So it's like a word of mouth.
It was as well word of mouth, yeah,
Yeah,
vitamin B in the
right,
end, because
yeah.
she said that's not the jobs that I'm usually having in my portfolio.
Exactly, but because she have it in her mind. And then for my current job now, I also got it because of Severino's father. Like he met my boss in the golf club, and then they talk about her business that she would like to build, and then my career, and then we get to meet each other, and then we talk, and then we fell in love. But the initial contact is from the relationship.
Yeah.
And then how Severino find his job was actually also from the officer golf tournament.
Yeah.
So it's like this, when you just came here, first of all, enjoy the time. It's okay for you to first like adjust yourself, because I know how hard it is already to adjust yourself to completely different culture and then the environment. And especially like when you're getting married, then you have to also adjust yourself to the different status. Give yourself a time. It's really not a problem. But on the way, learn a language and then see if there's an opportunity for you to do a further education to get some like Swiss qualification, and then go out there and then network.
To the network. Just say
Yeah.
to everyone that you meet that you're looking for a job. Maybe they know someone else who well looking
Yeah.
for an employee.
Yeah. And then of course you might think that like, oh, Swiss people, it's not so easy to crack them. I mean, there are also like a lot of expats who is like living in Switzerland. You can also start from there. But I think Swiss people are like a coconut. Londoners, they're like avocados. In London, when I was networking, like it's really easy to say hi first and then go into the certain level, but it's hard to get into the middle. They don't really talk about what it's really inside them. For Switzerland, it's really hard to penetrate the out layer. Once you're inside, they're just like having you as one of them. They're all gonna advise you as if it's their own problem. You are inside their network. That's my analogy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's right. These days, when I meet someone new, I realize how harsh I am towards this person first. And then it really takes as well some time until I warm up and open up to this
Yeah.
person. But as soon as
Yeah.
this happens, I'm like an open book. We
Yeah.
can talk with each other about everything.
Yeah, but everywhere where people lives, it's all same as well. Like if you have a good intention, if you're open to everyone, if you're open for feedback and everything, everyone will see that. In a job market as well, I didn't know that I'll be able to be a shop manager in Appenzell. It might not come to you as shocking as it sounds, but it is. As an Asian woman in the main street of the Appenzell, as a shop manager in this perfumery, it was like as if it were gonna come into the newspaper because everyone was talking about me.
Some people came to her shop just to see her
Yeah.
because they heard in the city is a new Asian shop manager and they don't want to buy any perfume, they just want to see her.
Yes, but my boss told me later that like she hired me because she can feel how much I am open for working. She saw me inside. She think that I was a good person. She would like to work with me. So that was the thing. So the more I live here, I realize succeeding in Switzerland isn't about like working harder. It's about understanding how Switzerland actually works. Focusing on that and then be genuine, be yourself, and then be open for all the opportunity, then I think it will come, it will happen.
You did great. Cześć.
Mama.
I think
Yeah, exactly.
so
Yeah.
proud of you.
Having a Swiss spouse doesn't help as you think it will be. Living wise, it's a mental support. He's like my therapy dog.
Yeah, sure. Good.
Okay, and that's only the working side of our story. And then we think that like daily life, it's a completely different story. So in the next video, we're gonna cover some cultural shock that you will have as an expat, or especially as an Asian person or as a Korean person when you come to Switzerland. Stay tuned. If your Swiss friend asks you to go for a walk, you have to prepare a hiking boots. Going up is one thing, going down, my knee was broken. Nothing is open. Nothing is open. The shops close even earlier, like at 3. So if you're working, you're fucked. The fridge size is mortifying. They come home at 11, 12 to have lunch as a paternity leave. It's shocking. the thickness of the paper.
Us changing takes time.